Greetings, my fellow eagles and the entire world. This is Eagle Emmanuel Mensah with inspirations and guidance from Eagle Helen Mensah in the unseen world, coming into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. Today is the 16th of July in the year 2024, and the Bible says this is the day the Lord has made. And for that matter, we should rejoice and be glad in it. And so I take this opportunity to invite you to join me to give thanks to God for the day that He has granted unto us and life in general. Life is beautiful, life is wonderful, life is glorious. Life is God Himself, flowing through all things, including mankind. Today, I'm going to speak to you on a topic I called The Enemy Within is bigger and powerful than the enemy without. I repeat, the enemy within you is bigger and greater than the enemy without you or outside you. It is a universal truth that every man or woman knows, especially if you go to the area of science and people who create structures. It is a known fact or truth that the strength of every big thing depends on the center of it. There is a point of everything that is considered as the center, and when that center is disturbed, all other things that are attached to that center will crumble. And so, such is our life. And every human being has a center. And this is where whatever we will experience in our life, whatever we will see, comes from. That is the rock or the foundation upon which our life is built. And so, it is a general concept that has been sold to us that we have enemies. And therefore, when things are not going on well, we begin to accuse, we begin to look for these enemies, and then we try to, do away with them, either by spiritual or however we term it, or physically. But as a matter of fact, the enemy that you are talking of is not your enemy. As a matter of fact, it is you that has made them your enemies. And the reason is that there is something in every human being that feeds on our beliefs. And therefore, whatever belief you establish, that thing will take and make it a reality in your life. And when you feed this thing with negative beliefs, then it takes your negative beliefs and creates whatever you hold as your beliefs and present to you in your outer world. And so when you actually talk of enemy, the enemy that you have is the one within you, the one that you are training, the one that you've been training all these years, and the one that you are at the moment even serving. He is your enemy. Because any man or woman that comes into your life to do anything, any act that may be painful or even good, is not doing that, or it's not at that point in your life by chance, but it is by arrangement in the universe based on your own beliefs and your thought patterns. And so enemy, when we talk of, are all created and are within us. And in the same way, our friends, our allies, who helps us to build a beautiful and a wonderful life, are also within us. And they are powerful than any one of them outside. And as I said, the whole structure, the tallest building in this world, the whole structure is, standing on a small fraction of it, a center of it. That is where the pillars are. And when you locate the pillars that hold that building and you disturb it, the entire building will fall. And so it is with your life. When your center is corrupt, when what you are within you, your belief, the beliefs you hold are corrupt, then your life also will be corrupted. And in that case, it is not the work of anyone. It is not the work of any perceived enemy, but it is you. And if you want to change it, then you have to change it. And so the idea that we have enemy, particularly those of us from Africa, we have spiritual enemies, and therefore we are doing everything outside to protect ourselves. Believe it or not, the one you see as your enemy outside that you are protecting your unit is not as powerful as the enemy that you have established in you. And as a matter of fact, your subject of attention, the one that you may be thinking that is your enemy, is only a manifestation of that enemy that you have within you. Your beliefs manifest in your life. And therefore, when you take control of your beliefs, then you take control of your life. And so the center of everything is that matters. And as a matter of fact, when we were in high school, or middle school and high school in Africa, particularly Ghana, Nigeria, those of us in the West African examination area, there was a book that was a very beautiful, the title was very beautiful, it's still beautiful, and I love that book. And it was written by this great Nigerian writer, Chinua Achebe. And he entitled the book, Things Fall Apart, the Center Cannot Hold. And if you sit down to ponder over this line, you can write books. You can make a lot of things about it. If you really understand what he was putting across. Unfortunately, we only read a book, but we never understood what he was actually trying to put across. Things fall apart when the center cannot hold. Your life is crumbling. Your life is being painful and all this kind of thing because your center, which is your inner being or your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, is corrupted and you have created it, and therefore this thing is fighting against you. It's just like you going for a reptile, going for a snake, that you want to keep it as your pet. And then you nurse and nurture the snake, and at a point that it goes to a point that it arises and attacks you, depending on how you train it. So it is with our life. So the enemy, the concept of enemy is, as a matter of fact, is a false concept. And if you really want to know your enemies, then begin to go deep within you. What you hold dearly, what you hold as the bedrock upon which your life is built upon, is that is manifesting in your life, and you see all other people coming into your life, and you say they are your enemies. And as a matter of fact, if you are using physical things that you are using to fight your enemies, like in Africa in particular, the charms, the amulets and things that we wear and all those things, they have no power. They have no power. They have nothing to do with whoever you see as your enemies, unless those people also believe in those things. But the fact is that it is your beliefs that are manifesting in your life. Therefore, if you want to change anything, then go back to the center of your life, the center of your being. That is your inner being, and make it pure and make it whole. And if you do that, then your life will begin to change accordingly. Your outer experience will begin to change accordingly. So things fall apart. The center cannot hold. It's a universal truth. Your life is crumbling. Your life is falling apart. You are in perplexity. You are worried. You are doing this and that because the basis or the center of you is corrupt. You do not hold any truth or principle upon which you are building your life. Principle is the whole thing that you need to hold. If you hold the right principle, everything in your life will always be good. Everything in your life will follow the principle, because principle doesn't fail. And the principle is that you are the creator of your own reality. So if you hold that principle that you are the creator of your own reality, and therefore you begin to pay attention to what you are thinking and feeling, then you have control of that enemy. You tame it. You tame it and turn him into a beautiful and a wonderful servant. And he will rise up and work for you. The power of this enemy, you can see or you can measure what you get from the supposed enemy within you by looking at its power, what it is projecting into your life. And therefore, if you turn it into a beautiful and a tamed animal, a tamed enemy, that has become your ally, no more, but no more a foe. You will get exact opposite of what is giving you right now. And so things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Your life will never be prosperous. You will never have a beautiful and wonderful life when your center is corrupt. Your life will crumble. You will suffer. You will break yourself. And that is how it is. So the enemy that you are talking of, the enemy within you, is so powerful, is so great, greater than all enemies you are seeing outside. And as a matter of fact, all the people, all the human beings that you consider as your enemies are working for you, evil forces, are the manifestation of the enemy within you that is projecting all those things into your life. And therefore, take control of your life. Take control of your mind. Your mind is the center of everything. And the center of you is that what you hold as your belief becomes the bedrock, becomes the foundation upon which you are building your life. So what are your beliefs? What are your principles? Principle is something that doesn't change. And if you take some of the basic principles that we learned in secondary school in science, there is one that is said water takes the shape of its container. And there is nothing that can change this. However, whatever amount of water you have, you put it in any container, it will adapt to the nature of the container. In the same way, they say water finds its own level. In the same way, you can put water in a tube, and the water will rise up to the top of a mountain. You can take that water there. And so you see the principle. There are basic principles that doesn't change. The mathematical principle 2 plus 2 equals 4 is the same for everyone. Even if you go into outer space, if you perform the mathematical principle 2 plus 2 is 4. If you are in a fire and you have the time to perform the mathematical principle 2 plus 2 is 4. If you are under the ocean and you have the time and the capacity to perform the principle 2 plus 2, it will be equal 4. There is no way you will go that this principle will change. And that is how our lives are. There is nothing in your life that you will do that you will get a discord unless you are doing what is against your life principle. And therefore, you are here as a human being to create a beautiful and a wonderful life, to progress, to move yourself from one level to another level. And the only way you can do that is to become awakened to this truth, to become awakened to this fact. There is no enemy. If you are living, as a matter of fact, with all due respect, I know this is something generally common in Africa. We were born in it. But that is the truth. If you are living and your general belief, that the belief upon which you are organizing your life is that there are enemies that can attack you, then you are in bondage, whether you like it or not. I may sound rude, but as a matter of fact, it's not. That is the truth. If your belief upon which you organize your life is to fight enemies, then you are in bondage. There is no enemy that you can fight. And we can even look into our lives. Those of us that go to church, we've bombarded evil spirits all that. Look, our forefathers started it. They bombarded them and bombarded them. None of the evil spirits, none of the witches are going. And we are on it every time. The fact is, none of these things are true. What is true is that you are seeing these witches or evil forces in your life because you establish that as your belief, and that your belief is manifested in your life. And that is why Jesus Christ put across that it is done unto you according to your faith. So the faith, what you hold as the center of your life, is what you will see in your life. And therefore, if your life is something that you don't want, that means go back, or I will refer you to the statement or the title of Chinua Achebe's book. Things fall apart only when the center cannot hold. Your life is not doing well because the center, the foundation upon which you are building your life, cannot hold because it is corrupt, it is false. Change it. If you change it, or if you make amendments to it, if you make changes to it, you will see a different story. And so the enemy within is bigger and greater than the enemy without. And this enemy is at the same time our friend. You can change this enemy into a friend or a servant that will save you, will pick you and take you from any kind of discord in life and place you on a royal road unto highness or unto greatness and highness. As a matter of fact, this is the power that is within every human being. We all have it. We have what we call our soul. We have what we call our inner being, the subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it. It is this thing in us, this aspect of us that we are daily feeding. And as I already said, if you have a cat, the way you train it is what it will become. If you have what we call it, a lion, the way you train it, that it will become. Anything that you have in your life is by way you train it. And therefore, you can train any animal that is called wild to become a friend that it will save you. And so it is with your inner being, so it is with your own center upon which your life is built upon. You are the driver, you are the trainer, and whatever training, whatever suggestion you are giving to that presence within you will determine whether you have the enemy or you have a friend, you have a servant. And so, disabuse your mind. This is the time you have to emancipate yourself from this mental slavery that we have been, put in. If you are a man or woman and always walking around looking over your shoulders, sometimes people are walking in fear. They are afraid. And therefore, anything that appears, they declare in the name of Jesus. They rebuke things. Even a cricket, they rebuke it. A lizard, they rebuke it. Whatever, frogs, they rebuke them. Why? All these things are part of nature. They were created by God, just as you and I. Now, how come that God's creation will become our enemies? That is the belief that we have established. And these beliefs are fighting us. And so your life will always mirror what you are. So the center cannot hold. Your center, if it is corrupt, it cannot give you any beautiful and a wonderful life. If your center, if your beliefs, the beliefs that you call your core beliefs, that's whatever you want to call it, that you build your you build your life upon, the belief that controls you, that any decision that you have to make, it has to be in line of those beliefs, and those that forms your center. And if they are corrupted, if they are bad, then they cannot hold the principle that gives you a good and a beautiful life. That is negation. And so this is the time that you have to wake up. You have no enemy to fight on the outside. You have no enemy to fight on the outside. But the enemy you have to fight is within you. If laughter conditions are bad, poor, sour, negative, then you know that you have made your inner side an enemy. And if you train it, if you go back to train it, to suggest the opposite to him or her, he will change, or her, she will change, and then bring you beautiful and a wonderful thing. What you send into the world is what will come to you. So what you train your child is that he or she will become to you. And so it is with yourself. What you built within you, what your parents, your forefathers have built within you, is fighting or serving you. There is no any other thing more than that. And therefore, especially those of us in Africans, our dominant belief is that there are enemies, there are forces, there are things that are fighting us. And this is what is fighting against us. We are all our enemies. The enemy within is greater and powerful than the enemy without. And therefore, let us turn our attention to the within. Let us turn our attention to the inside of us. And then fight. We are not even to fight this enemy. We are supposed to transform the supposed enemy into something that will be our friend, will be our servant, will be anything that we would desire. And he will work it out for you. And so, this is the time of enlightenment. This is the time of knowledge and understanding. Your life is basically a principle. And if you find a principle and follow it, if you find a principle and live by it, all the forces, all the laws in the universe will conspire to make your life a better and a beautiful one. And so, as I bring my message to an end, I would like to remind you once again, young men and women growing up. I don't know whether this you are still reading this book, Chinua Achebe's book, Things Fall Apart. The center cannot hold. The entire story in the book, no, it's not necessarily that what I'm talking about, but the title of the book is something that you need to ponder in light of your own life situations. You are every day creating or destroying your life. And this is what is coming into your life, that you take other people as your enemy. But once again, this is a universal fact. It is always done unto every one of us according to our faith. And therefore, if you are a man or a woman and your dominant belief, the basis of your living is that there are forces or enemies in the universe or in the world that are fighting against you, so shall it be unto you. That is my message for you. Now, release yourself. If you change it and also believe that you are born a free person, there is no one, there is nothing that can attack you, there is nothing that is against you unless you establish those beliefs. In that case, you are a free man, and so shall it be unto you. And so the enemy and the friends are both within us, and those ones are powerful than those we are seeing on the outside. If we bring in the friends, if we transform the enemy into a friend, this friend will manifest in our life, such that we'll be surrounded by beautiful and wonderful, loving and caring people. So our life will be a life of joy and happiness. We'll live happily hereafter, always, always. That is my message for you. And may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars in the open, such that they do not fall on us, that keep the planets in their orbits, such that they do not clash with one another, lead and guide you, direct you, open your mind, expose you to your own true powers, that you begin to walk and move and organize your life and address your enemies that you have created within you. And as soon as you transform the enemies within you, your outer experiences will change. For when the center is pure and holy, when the center is strong, the outer structure or the outer part of the structure of the building will also be strong. They will hang on to it and nothing will happen. That is my message for you. God bless you and have a beautiful and a wonderful day.